We had some more awards this week with the African Player of the Year being announced, as well as the Best FIFA Awards happening. We have some Carabao Cup results to talk about, and of course, that Marcus Rashford situation. You're watching Foot and Mouth. Welcome back to Foot and Mouth. Hope everybody is doing well and enjoyed the football last night. There were some good games on, some good games with some big wins for some clubs, namely Arsenal, but we'll get onto that. As I did say in the opening, there were some awards this week. African Player of the Year, the CAF Awards 2024 did happen. African Player of the Year was, I don't think anybody's going to be surprised by this answer, Ademola Lookman. And obviously the player that represents Nigeria and Atalanta. Considering the season that he had, I don't think anyone is going to forget how well he did in the Europa League anytime soon. So I think well-deserved, following in the footsteps of another big name striker from Nigeria, Victor Osimhen, who I have seen online is getting a little bit of flack because he hasn't publicly congratulated Ademola Lookman. I don't know what climate we're living in where everybody is so touched by grown men not congratulating other grown men for certain achievements publicly. There's every chance this could have happened privately because they do know each other much better than either of us viewers know any of them. But yeah, Osimhen catching a little bit of flack for not being very showboaty with the congratulations for Lookman. But it is a very well-deserved award. That much has to be said. Another well-deserved award was the CAF Goalkeeper of the Year, which was South Africa's own Ronwen Williams. We spoke about him before. He was obviously nominated at the Ballon d'Or Awards this year. Yeah, he was the Goalkeeper of the Year. Plays for Mamelodi Sundowns and Bafana, but that's not the only award that he won on the night, because he also did win the CAF Interclub Player of the Year award. So that's two awards in the hands of the South African, the safe hands, mind you, of the South African goalkeeper who plays for Mamelodi Sundowns as well. So big congratulations go out to Ronwen Williams. I'm sure he watches the show. Why wouldn't he? The CAF Awards also went on to award the Referee of the Year and the Assistant Referee of the Year, which I think in today's climate, football-wise, if you watch the Premier League, that sounds like a crazy thing to do, because who could be deserving of either of those awards? But they do that at the CAF Awards. I actually don't know if they do it at any of the other European award ceremonies, but I'd be surprised if they do, considering the quality. Or rather, I'd be surprised if there's any Premier League officials that are in contention for either of those awards. But yeah, congrats all around to them. The Best FIFA Awards for 2024 also happened, and this was an award ceremony that Real Madrid did not boycott. We had Carlo Ancelotti winning Coach of the Year. It's the second one that he's gotten this year, only this is the first one that he was there to receive the award for. And again, well-deserved, can't take anything away from that. We also had Vinny Jr. getting some justice, at least, winning the Player of the Year at the Best FIFA Awards. A lot of people obviously still very much strongly believe he should have won the Ballon d'Or Award. Maybe this is a small compromise. It is obviously still a big award for him. It's a big achievement for him. It is the recognition that I think he deserved. I still think that Rodri was deserving of the Ballon d'Or, but it is good to see Vinny Jones getting some justice, at least, for this award. And again, well-deserved. I wouldn't have argued if Vinny Jones did win the Ballon d'Or award, but I'm happy that he's at least won this award. We also had Emi Martinez getting another Goalkeeper of the Year award. I think in terms of individual accolades for the year 2024, Emi Martinez may be in the lead when it comes to silverware on an individual level. But yeah, again, you'd be hard-pressed to pick out another goalkeeper that's more deserving. This guy shows up on the big stages. He absolutely does. We also had the Puskas Award that went to Alejandro Garnacho for his bicycle kick against Everton. Now, when this goal happened, we reacted live on the show, and I had said that this is definitely a goal of the season contender. Some people are of the opinion that this should not have won the Puskas Award. Look, to each their own. There are a handful of goals that were in the running for the Puskas Award, and I'll put the link in the description. I found a nice compilation on Twitter that had all of them neatly packaged into one place, so I'll put the link in the description. You guys can watch through them. Have your say in the comment section below on whether or not you think Garnacho actually deserved this. I think that at least one other goal should have been the winner. But look, you can't argue with that goal. That Garnacho goal was something special. It was a moment of magic. So I'm not against him winning it, but I will say that there is at least one. I'm not going to say which one, I'm not gonna say. Maybe I'll mention which one in the next episode. But there is at least one other goal. It was a nice solo effort, and yeah, I'll put the link in the description below to all the other goals that were nominated. And you guys let me know in the comment section below. Was Garnacho deserving of this, or do you think that there's someone else that should have been awarded the Puskas Award for 2024? And then, of course, there was the best FIFA Men's 11 team that was announced, and that team is as follows. We had Emi Martinez in goal, of course. We also had William Saliba, shout out Saliba, in defense. Ruben Diaz. We had Rudiger, Carvajal. In the midfield, there was Cruz, Rodri, and Bellingham. And up top, you had Vinny Jr., Haaland, and Yamal. So I think overall, that's definitely a solid team. Let me know if you guys think there's anybody else that was more deserving to be in that team. I highly doubt it. But yeah, that does it for the awards portion of this episode. Now, let's get on to the Marcus Rashford business. Now, Marcus Rashford, for me, I have said this many times before. I've said it mostly off camera, but I'm going to say it on camera now, just in case I haven't already. I think Marcus Rashford is going to go down as one of the biggest what-if players in Premier League history, just because of the fact that this dude has so much talent. He has so much ability on the ball. And I think he has absolutely fallen victim to complete lack of stability since he's broken into the Man United first team. He's been at the club since he was 7 years old. Broke into the team when he was 18 years old under then manager Louis van Gaal. And since then, he's had some highs, he's had some lows. I think he's had 2 seasons where he's hit 30 goals in the season across all competitions for the club. But the one thing that I think never worked in his favor is the fact that since he's been in the first team, man has had 7 different managers in the space of 8 years. Now, especially when you break into the team at such a young age, I feel like that's a very crucial part of your developmental phase as a football player in a senior team at the top level. To be chopping and changing managers that often is only detrimental, bruh. I mean, how do you find any type of balance? All these managers have their own philosophies, they have their own ethos, they have their own style of play that they want to implement. They're expecting new things from you. And while it's easy to, at face value, be like, oh yeah, well, he's learning all the best bits from everybody, you do also need structure, bro. I think that goes without saying. And those managers that he's played for have been Louis van Gaal, Jose Mourinho, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Michael Carrick, although it was interim, Ralf Rangnick, Erik ten Hag, and now Ruben Amorim. And it looks like it's finally gotten to him, because he has been speaking publicly this week, and he pretty much said that he is planning on leaving Manchester United. He said he's ready for a new chapter. And look, right off the bat, I will say, I think it's best for everyone, because the amount of abuse that Rashford has been getting by Man United fans, by England fans, for the majority of his career, it's bound to take its toll at some point, There's a lot of people that aren't happy at all with Marcus Rashford making these comments. And I can understand, it does seem a little bit disrespectful to the club. I also appreciate the honesty from where I'm sitting. But then again, it's a Manchester United player and I am an Arsenal fan. So I'm not going to feel especially touched by it. But I mean, I completely understand it, There's been more than one occasion where Rashford has been videoed getting into it with fans verbally. Even one time, Ian Wright, Arsenal legend, of course, came to his defense and backed him in how he handled the situation. Because I think people very often forget that football players, as famous and as well paid as they are humans, and humans have breaking points. And Rashford has constantly had to defend the fact that he is a human. And sometimes things get a bit much, bruh, and you will react. And yeah, there's a very common misconception that these football players earn so much money that they should just deal with it and they should just suck it up. And I never supported that notion at all. They don't call the shots on the wages that are being paid in the sport in this day and age. That's how the times have moved, and they are paid what clubs deem them worthy of. So he signed a contract, They put the number on the contract. He agreed to it. He signed the contract. That's it. That's all he did. And just because he's earning that much money, I don't think it warrants any type of abuse. And obviously it extends further than just abuse of his performances, because he is a black man in the UK and he does get a lot of racial abuse. It only got worse after the 2020 Euros, where we saw both Rashford and Bukayo Saka. They weren't the only two, but I think they were the two most high-profile victims of the fallout following that final against Italy. They got it bad, man. And at the time, they were also younger, so it's a lot more stress to put on someone. And yeah, I always felt that Rashford didn't have the. I'm sure he did have a good support, a good support. What's the word? System in place. But I always felt that Saka had a slightly better one. You know, there were lots of videos of the mural that was laid out at the Emirates for Bukayo Saka with all the support from fans. There were tons of players on social media and just regular people that were supporting both of these players and more online as well. But I feel like the way that situation had a proper make or break feeling to it. You know, Saka came out a much better player for it, and he beat the odds. You know, a lot of people would have caved under that type of pressure and that type of stress. And he has just very much gone from strength to strength. Since then, he's been named England Player of the Year 2 seasons in a row, if I'm not mistaken. Marcus Rashford, on the other hand, seems to have had a complete opposite trajectory. What's the word? Correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, he seems to have gone in a slightly opposite direction. It's not been up and up for him since then. And I think that was a very big moment for him because, you know, in the mix of getting all this backlash from your own fans when you are a Manchester United product, he's pretty much the poster boy of the club, has been since he broke into the first team. I'm pretty sure that the support structure there, this is obviously me just speculating, I don't think that the support structure was the same as what Saka had. And I think that the club and a lot of the club's fans could have done a lot more to help him. But hey, this is sport, you know. Manchester United, I've always said, is probably the most stressful club to A, coach at, and then B, probably play for, because fans' expectations are out of this world at Manchester United. They know their name is their name. They have such a rich history in football that a lot of people have the problem of like defaulting to the fact that, hey, we are United, we are the best. If you play for the badge, you should just be like, there's a lot of expectations and pressure that gets put on these players. And I think that pressure didn't lessen after the 2020 final, the Euro final with England. And I think it's just at that point where it's just gotten a bit much for him, you know. I feel bad for the player. I don't think that he had any intention of, or not so much any intention, but I don't think he had any interest in leaving Manchester United outright. I think this is a decision that the player is now coming to making of his own accord, just because it's just getting a bit much. You know, he's 27 years old now. He's nearing the end of his career. I guess, you know, in this day and age, you're pretty much ardent because we're seeing players play into their 30s, and it's quite common now. But yeah, I think he's got one more big move left in him, you know, where you can make it to another top European club, get a nice wage before you start thinking about, you know, retiring in the MLS or even going to Saudi for that matter. But yeah, I respect him for speaking out. I also respect the fans and pundits alike who are saying that they support Marcus Rashford. Majority of them definitely are not. But yeah, I think this is the time to just remember that these players are human and they do have feelings, they do have emotions, and they also do have boundaries. And I think a lot of those boundaries have been tested and broken since Rashford has been playing for Manchester United. And I think that he needs a fresh start. I think that there's still a serious player there. He obviously has ambitions of getting back into the England squad. And it's not going to happen for him while he's at Manchester United. You know, I just don't see it happening. Hopefully I'm wrong. Marcus Rashford playing for anyone other than Man United just seems weird. But at the same time, I can't blame him, man. When you think about all the controversy that's happened at Manchester United, even the ones that he hasn't been involved in, you know, he's been in that environment, the Cristiano Ronaldo nonsense, for example. That all adds pressure and it adds stress to any player, especially when you are a young player coming up, because a lot of these things happened while he was young. You know, Ronaldo painted a very good picture, not a good one, of course, but he painted a picture of what those players were like in the dressing room, and these were the senior players that Marcus Rashford is having to look up to and learn from. And you know, it wasn't the best environment. He hasn't had the best environment. And I think that if you put Marcus Rashford in a stable, good, healthy environment for football, I think he flourishes, bro. And yeah, you know, on top of that, everything that he does, it's one of those damned if you do, damned if you don't situations, because anytime he's caught doing anything outside of football, just for leisure purposes, the fans are all over him again. And I don't think this is going to stop. Probably won't even stop once he leaves the club, because you'll have people holding it over his head forever that he decided to leave the club and not fight for his place. But I think he's fought enough. He's done enough, in my opinion, at Manchester United, and I'm all for him getting a fresh start elsewhere. Let me know what you guys think about his comments. Do you think that it was warranted? Do you also believe that it was just disrespectful to the club? Yeah, you know where I stand on the matter. Let me know what you guys think. Moving on to something a little bit more positive than the Marcus Rashford stuff. We had football last night, and we had lots of goals, man. Lots and lots of goals. 3 of the 4 quarterfinal games were played. The only one that we are still waiting on is the big Spurs versus Man United one. But last night, we saw Arsenal get a win. We saw Newcastle get a win. And we saw Liverpool get a win. Now, I'm going to start with the Arsenal game, naturally. So, Arsenal take on Crystal Palace at the Emirates. Within 4 minutes, it's not looking good because Crystal Palace have scored the opener and they take the lead. 1-0 up through Mateta. Not a very good show from Kivio, who I was happy to see in the team. But yeah, we are 1-0 down within 4 minutes, and that's never a good thing. You never want to be in that situation, whether you're home or away, especially more so when you're in a quarterfinal of any competition. So we had our work cut out for us, you know. We've shown in recent weeks that we struggle very much to deal with defensive-minded sides and break down low blocks. But fair play to Crystal Palace. They didn't absolutely shut up shop. They were still ready for it. Glasner had them absolutely prepared for this game. They had a good strategy going into this. And it paid off for the most part because that first half ended up just being 1-0 Crystal Palace. And I was starting to struggle to see where we were going to find a way into this game. I'm not going to lie. We had a lot of the ball, as we always do. We just weren't doing anything with it, which we seem to be doing a lot of lately. Look, Arteta, at least credit to him, sprung into action. In the second half, he introduced some mainstays from the first team. We saw the introduction of Martin Odegaard back on the pitch. We saw the introduction of William Saliba back on the pitch. Odegaard absolutely changed this game. He absolutely changed this game. I think it was a performance that he needed considering his last 2-3 games that he's had. And it's a performance that we, the fans, needed. Because once he came onto the pitch, bro, it pretty much was game over for Crystal Palace. He was dictating everything in the middle of the park. I would have liked to see him play with Ethan Nwaneri rather than replace Nwaneri. But yeah, look... what matters is the influence that he had on the game. He came on, pretty much immediately, just completely changed the entire trajectory of the game for us. And he set up Gabriel Jesus for his first goal. Jesus, of all people, not only getting 1 goal, not getting 2 goals, but ending up with a hat-trick on the night. And I'm especially happy he managed to get a hat-trick against a Premier League side, because obviously this competition, more often than not, these big clubs are going up against, you know, championship sides, League 1 sides, League 2 sides. But Crystal Palace aren't really, they're not having the best Premier League campaign, but they're no pushovers. So I think for Gabriel Jesus to get a hat-trick against them, I think that is going to be a massive boost to his confidence. Dedicated his first goal to his expected new baby, which he announced also this week. So congrats to him. And yeah, it wasn't just Odegaard who got the assist, because eventually Bukayo Saka was also introduced to the game. And he also got an assist for Gabriel Jesus. So once the main stars of the team came onto the pitch, it was just all Arsenal again. It did end quite nervy though, because towards the end, of course, Eddie Nketiah gets himself a goal for Crystal Palace, which is against Arsenal. A very nice header, I must say. Very, very nice header to put it past David Raya. And also on that note, Mateta's goal was good as well. Fair play to Mateta for that goal, even though I do put a lot of that down to Kivio's poor defending. But it was a good goal. So yeah, all in all, quite an action-packed game. I predicted a 2-0 Arsenal win. I was not right, clearly. It ended 3-2 to Arsenal. But what a game, you know. First half, like I say, started off very slowly. But that second half had everything, bro. All the action. And I was happy to see the rotation. I did expect some rotation. If you saw the last episode we put out, I did expect some rotation. Those changes that were made were ones that I was excited to see. Sterling was finally getting some minutes again. He was starting. Nwaneri was starting. We saw Kivio starting. But that left side, boy, Trossard is still... I don't know where his head's at this season. He has always pretty much been an up and down player, but more up than not. It just doesn't seem to, for the longest time so far this season, it just hasn't been clicking with him. And I still think going into January that there is work to be done on that left side of the pitch, bro. We obviously saw Thomas Partey playing at right back again, which is never a sight that you really want to see. But hey, injuries are injuries, so you've got to manage your team as best you can. And I think Arteta did a decent job of that last season. Last night, last night. Arteta did a decent job of that last night. So Arsenal are through to the semi-finals. I am hoping that the team that we get will be in Newcastle. No disrespect to Newcastle, but as things stand, Liverpool got to win, so Liverpool are through. And whoever wins between Man United and Spurs, I think either Liverpool, United, Spurs, either of those three clubs are better than Newcastle at this present time. Actually, you know what? If United win, then I'll want United. But right now, with what we know, I'd prefer Newcastle over Liverpool any day. Because going into the semis, I don't think you're going to see any of these clubs resting any players. Because then you're one game away from the final. So you're going full strength. So yeah, I'm hoping that we can get Newcastle, even though they did look good against Brentford. I expected a 2-1 loss for Brentford. Newcastle ended up winning 3-1. A brace from Tonali, which was pretty rare. I like the player. I think he's a very, very good midfielder. But he's not often known for goal scoring. So for him to get a brace, that's good. Fabian Shaw also got a goal. And then Wissa managed to get a consolation goal for Brentford. So at least on an individual level, he is still adding to his tally for the season. Meanwhile, at Liverpool versus Southampton, we saw goals by Darwin Núñez and Harvey Elliott in the first half that put them safely through. The second half, Southampton did get a goal back, but it always looked like Liverpool were going to win and progress. Now, all we have to wait and do is find out the winner for Newcastle, for Tottenham versus Manchester United. Now, let me know again your guys' predictions in the comments below, firstly. Because, yesterday I felt that it was a big game. Going into this game tonight, I think it's even bigger than I already did. Just because of everything that's happening at Manchester United currently with the Marcus Rashford drama. I expected Rashford to come back into the team for this game. I think that may have been jeopardized just a little bit, considering what Rashford's been saying in public. So maybe Garnacho, I do fully expect to return as well. Obviously coming in on a high, fresh off his Puskas Award win. So I still think I'm still backing United going into this. But there's definitely going to be some eyes on that lineup once it's announced. Thank you guys for watching the show. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel for more. I'll catch you in the next one.